Today we're going to be talking about my TRT protocol. Yes, I have been taking TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, for the last, I think it was about 3 years, but I wanted to go over this in this video, and I want to talk about my protocol, what I'm taking, and I want to talk about whether or not you should consider it and some of the things that I considered in doing this. So first of all, let's talk about why I started taking TRT. One of the main reasons why is actually because I had very high SHBG levels. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's sex hormone binding globule. And what it does is it takes a lot of the free testosterone that you have. So even though I had decent level of testosterone in my bloodstream, I didn't have all that being bioavailable. At least that's the theory behind it when you have very high SBG. Now, why did I have very high SBG? There's some genetic components, I think, I have some Sicilian blood in me, but also I think it was exacerbated by me fasting and training, running so many miles. And I tried some things to get it under control. I stinging nettle, a different switching up the diet and stuff, but it was just super high. And it was affecting me in a lot of ways. I was feeling depressed a lot of the time. I felt like my libido was going down to some degree. And also at that time too, I think I was about 39 years old. I'm 42 right now. I was getting to the point where it just made a lot of sense. I listened to Derek from More Plates, More Dates. He had this video and he was talking about, he was like, look, it's great to be natural and all this stuff. When you hit your late 30s or 40s, you could be natural, or you can increase your testosterone to, as it started to drop down, to have basically what would be natural levels in your 20s or 30s and maintain that. And so your 40s can be like your 30s. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, just to have some ego trip of being like, oh, I've never taken any kind of substance. Why would I do that and sacrifice my 40s when they could be like my 30s? I would love to do that. So it made a lot of sense to me. And then also, I want you to understand this before I get into the protocol, is that if you look at my pictures, some of the older pictures of my physique pre 2019, maybe 2018, 2017, you can see, I remember there's a picture where I'm running the San Jose half marathon and I'm totally shredded and ripped and huge, never touched anything at that time. I built a ridiculous physique with honestly nothing. And now that I'm on TRT, my physique is good. I have maybe about 5 pounds more muscle that I can hold at the same level of leanness. My point is that it didn't affect things quite as much as I think a lot of people expect, but it did help me in my general well-being. And right now I'm training for ultras. That's where I'm at right now. So my point is, though, if you're going to think about doing something like this, you need to really consider a couple of things. One, are there negative things that are going to happen from this? For me, there wasn't much negative, especially since my running counteracts a lot of the things that could be negative. My heart condition, I have a resting heart rate of 51 beats per minute. I am in tip-top shape. So physically, I don't have to worry about that. If you're not as physically active and you're taking something like this, you could suffer from some issues. Talk to a doctor, obviously. I'm not a doctor, but those are some things to consider. And then for me, I don't think that guys that are young should be taking it. I think as you get into your 30s, that's where you start to make this decision. Even if you have low T in your 20s, it still doesn't make sense. You're going to be on this for most likely for life. And so do you really want to do that? And have you put in the work? That's the thing. It's like, if you put in the work already, you shouldn't be using this as a shortcut, as a crutch. I'm always against crutches. So many guys are using this as a crutch. They're like, oh, if I just take TRT, then I'll get a good physique. First of all, that's not true. And then second of all, it's a crutch. You have to be able to work. I know that I worked and developed it. I know that I don't need the ego component anymore because I know that I had earned the physique that I had before I did this. So let me tell you what my protocol is. All right, it's really simple. I'm basically taking about 180 milligrams of testosterone per week. I'm doing 3 injections on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And that's it. That's basically all I'm doing. I'm also taking some HCG, just a small amount when I take those injections. It's kind of hard to get the HCG as well. Again, I won't get into like the extreme details of the protocol. I did some other things before. I was doing some peptides and stuff like that, but I just felt like for the cost, it wasn't really worth it. I didn't really see much of an effect from that. So anyway, that's all that it is. It's really simple and straightforward, and it helped me a lot. I feel like my SHBG levels came in line. I feel like motivation and some of those things came back. But to be honest with you, I really don't notice much of a difference. So if you want to, and one of the things is that you want to make sure that you get it from a reputable source. Obviously, like I said, I was going to tell you about Derek from More Plates, More Dates. He actually started a company called Merrick, and that was the only place that I really trusted. So I reached out to Derek. He said, hey, I'll hook you up. And he did set me up initially with his team over there, and they helped me to figure things out, do a blood test and everything. And that's really the first step. What I would recommend that you do is that you go through that company. Again, The reason why I went with Derek's company is because I watch his videos and I know that he knows more about the pharmaceuticals than anything else. He obviously studies this stuff, geeks out on this stuff. I can trust what his team and what he's going to say about these things. So I put a link down below if you want to sign up. Basically, the very first thing that you want to do is you want to get a diagnostic lab panel. I think it's like $450 with analysis. It's like $500. You get 10% off at checkout if you use the code Bulldog Mindset. And then you'll jump on a phone with someone and they'll go over that. And then you can see if you want to do treatment that's shipped to your home. Like my stuff just comes directly to my home. I just take this stuff out. It's real simple. I know you might be scared of sticking yourself with a needle. You get used to it. It's really simple. It's not very difficult to do at all. And it can fix that issue for you if you're struggling with that issue. Again, like I said, for me, I had to take the ego out of it because I had so much ego invested in this idea that I've never taken anything unnatural and all this stuff. And what it came down to was, no, quality of life is way more important than ego. And yeah, I already knew that I could build a physique without it. I don't feel that bad about it. That's where I'm at. I feel like my quality of life, and I'll be transparent with you guys. I'm telling you guys, and some of you guys are still gonna be haters. It doesn't matter. I don't even care at this point. I have a good physique. I bust my ass and I have a better lifestyle because of it. I like that. That's fine. I'm cool with that. I put in the work. I did the hard work and I still do the hard work. And so I'm cool with that. If you're not, it's up to you. But anyway, click the link down below if you want to jump on there and get the labs. And at least you can see where you stand. And that's what I recommend is that you get your blood levels tested, you check and you see where are you at right now. And then you decide, does this make sense? And talk to someone who you would actually trust. That's why Derek from More Plates, More Dates, his team, they have to know if they're trained by him, if they're working with him, they know, and they do have a deep knowledge of all of the stuff. They have a lot of other stuff too. They have some treatments for hair loss. And also if you want to grow the beard with minoxidil, they have a mix that has tririnotin, and then also face cream. I use a tririnotin face cream that they give me, which is great. And they're familiar with all the peptides and all the kind of stuff around there. As far as longevity and reversing aging and performance, they can hook you up with all that stuff. So click the link down below if you want to get started with that. Again, remember to use the code Bulldog Mindset so you can get 10% at the checkout. And the first thing that you're going to do is, like I said, is take that lab, and then that will give you a lot of information. In fact, I'm going to go in for some more blood work later this week just to see where I'm at. It's really important to know that even if you weren't going to get on TRT, still take advantage of getting cheap blood work by using my code and do that so that you know where you stand. Because it's very important to know where you stand so that you can determine what are the things that you might want to change or to have that good baseline.